Hello everybody, my name is Dee and welcome to Books and Quirks. Today is Friday, so it's time for another Friday Reads. And I cannot believe it is 2018 already. And yeah, I just have so many books I want to get to this year. But and I didn't even know what to start with, but I did start a couple of books and I think that I'm going to continue on with those. And I'll tell you about a buddy read that I'm also starting during the week. So yeah, let me just get started. So the first book that I want to talk about that I already started earlier this week, and I've only read a little bit so far, and that is Golden Hill by Frances Spufford. You've probably heard about this book before if you are a fan of historical fiction. This is a book that takes place in mid-18th century New York City. So it was, 1746 when this book started, a time and an atmosphere of New York that is so unknown to me and so fascinating. And I'm just loving it so far. It is a little bit of a slower read. I started it earlier this week, but I only read for one day and I only got to page 58, which was the whole first chapter. I don't know what it is with books lately, but the books that I've been picking up have long chapters. I'm not a fan of really long chapters, but what can you do? So like I said, this book follows New York in 1746. New York at the time was very much in its infancy. I mean, there are farmlands, there are, it's just not the New York that we know now. There are no, big buildings or anything like that. There are sheep roaming around. And it's, before the Revolutionary War. I mean, this was just a fascinating time. And I think, in the first chapter, at least of what I read, the author does a really good job of describing the atmosphere. And that's what I think I love the most so far about this book. The plot is, it follows a Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, at the very beginning, has just come off the boat, and is wanting to cash a note that he has for £1,000. And during that time, I'm sure I don't need to explain that is like a huge amount of money. And, they have to sort of verify, is this guy who he says he is this note, real, or is it fraudulent? Without the technology that we have today. They have to sort of do a big background check, and that background check is going to take a while. So that's really all I know so far. I haven't really gotten that far yet. I hope to continue to enjoy it, but like I said, it is a slow read. Hopefully I'll finish it this week, but we'll see. It's not a very long book, but it's just a slower book. Yeah, it's just over 300 pages, so maybe I probably will be able to finish it by the end of the week. But yeah, so I'm excited. This book got mixed reviews by a lot of people that I follow that have similar tastes to me. Some really seem to really love it. Some seem to, just think it was okay or really not like it that much. So I'm excited to see where I stand on this. It seems like a book that I would absolutely love based on what it says on the back and based on what I've read so far, but we'll have to see. This book, I think I heard, is more of a political, historical fiction more than anything else. So we'll have to see. So the next book that I want to read this week is one that you've seen before and that I've already started, and that is Frozen Tides by Morgan Rhodes. Obviously, the dust jacket is off. But, so back in November, I was rereading. It's a 6-book series, and the final book was originally supposed to come out in December. So I was rereading all 5 books in anticipation of the last one because I really enjoy the series. But then when I looked up the release of the 6th book, I saw that it must have been pushed back at some point, and now it's coming out in February next month of 2018. So I had put this book aside. So this is the 4th book in the series, and I had gotten about a third of the way through. So I'm going to continue on with this book, and then, in a couple weeks read the fifth book, and then hopefully that last book does come out next month so that I have everything fresh in my head. But yes, I'm really enjoying this series. It's YA series, fantasy, and it's everything that I love. So cannot wait to continue on with this. So the last book that I want to mention is a book that I will be starting a buddy read on Wednesday. I will be starting a buddy read on Wednesday the 10th, and I will be reading with Melanie over at Mel's Bookland Adventures, Candace of Beacon Hill Books, and Cheryl of CR Flames Fan. These three ladies I've buddy read a couple of things with before, and I absolutely adore all of them, so I'm excited. This book is a German book. It's called The Whaler. I just have my phone in front of me so that I can remember. And it is by Inez Thorn. So it is a German book, obviously. I'll be reading the translated one in English. And yeah, it seems like it's right up my alley. This is another historical fiction. It also takes place in the mid-1700s, 1764, on the island of Sylt. This is apparently part of a trilogy because it says book 1 in the Sylt trilogy. And it says that a young woman must choose between love and poverty, or thrilling adventure and tormented passion. So the last book that I will be doing a buddy read with a few other booktubers starting on Wednesday is The Whaler by Inez Thorn. This is a historical fiction novel taking place also in the mid-1700s, and it follows a young woman who I think, based on what I read on the back of the book, is set up with an arranged marriage, as was done during those times. And it says love and poverty, or thrilling adventure and tormented passion. And it takes place on an island in 1764 in the windswept village of Rantum in the North Sea. And it's fraught with peril and hardship. So I think this book has a little bit of adventure, a little bit of romance maybe. I'm not quite sure. But I think that I will really love this book. Based on everything that I read on the blurb, it just seems like a lot of fun. So I will be reading this with Candace of Beacon Hill Books, Melanie of Mel's Bookland Adventures, and Cheryl from CR Flames Fan. And this is actually a German book, and so I'll be reading it, obviously, translated into English. But yeah, it should be a lot of fun, and I always have loads of fun reading with those three ladies who I absolutely adore. So that is all I have for you. That is everything that I will be reading this week. But I am excited for these three books. I am having a lot of fun with the two that I started already, and I cannot wait to start buddy reading that third book. And yeah, I hope you're all having a good start to the year. My start to the year was a blizzard. That happened yesterday, and high winds. But stay warm wherever you are, and I hope you just have a good weekend. I will be digging out still a little bit, but otherwise, the roads are starting to clear up and things are starting to look a little bit better. But I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next time. Bye.